everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Luna over here. I am a real estate agent here in Philadelphia. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about everybody's favorite topic, money. So I want to share with you guys how much I have made my 2019 commission, kind of share with you guys how many deals I have closed. And this video is going to conclude two parts. One, I'm going to talk about the total number, which I'm going to give it to you guys very shortly. And two, I'm going to talk about how I get all the transactions and the timeline. All right, let's get into the video. The total number in commission for 2019 as a second year in real estate that I have made is $91,000. And just a little bit background for you guys to understand, I live in Philadelphia where the average home value is right around $200,000. Average listing price is $219,000. Only the majority, like the average home. So if you go through the timeline of all my transactions, in February, I closed one listing, and then I closed one buyer, and then I closed another listing in April, and I did two buyers, and then I had my first cold call listing that I closed right around May, and then it's another seller. It's a for sale by owner. So these are all before summer, and in summer of 2019, I then closed a seller and a for sale by owner, and then a cold call. So on the seller listing I got, it was actually from Zillow. The person found me as a premier agent. And then the second seller is actually a for sale by owner, which I was the very first few agent that contacted the seller. It's a flip, and I set the appointment right away. I was able to, meet the seller, and the seller checked me online and found my YouTube channel. So I emphasize how important it is to have a social media account, because to all the physical sellers, you're all strangers when you first time cold call. However, if you send them any sort of business card or anything, they look you up and they see your videos, it instantly just gonna make them trust you a little bit more. And then after that, it was a cold call listing, and that cold call actually was a cold call that I have planted a seed the year before in 2018. So when I called the prospective seller on 2018, he wasn't ready to move, and then I cold called him the beginning of 2019. He's not ready. So I had him set as a checkup for 9 months. But then I actually called him 3 months prior. So when I called him, he was actually feel strange. He's like, how do you know I was thinking about selling? It's a coincidence because he was actually shopping for a home at the time. So he did need to meet up with a realtor and get rid of his house as soon as possible. He didn't really tell me. He told me that after we had the home on the market when it's pending. So that one was quite a bit of a catch. I felt like I was getting kind of lucky with the timeline. So always make sure that you are following up. If you were supposed to follow up in 6 month time period, always make sure that you're following up in 3 months. And then after the summer, I remember it was like a few weeks that was just quiet prospecting, straightly prospecting. And I closed on 2 sellers in 1 single week. One is a cold call. On the first initial cold call, the seller said that he's looking to sell his house before the summer. So I went to meet up with the seller, signed the listing contract, took that listing with 5% commission. I had the property on the market for less than 3 days, got that under contract, and that was an easy deal. And then after that, I got a phone call the same week from a seller who called me from my postcard. So every time when I sell a house in the same area, I send them just listed, just sold cards. And the seller saw my just sold cards. He wasn't happy with the realtor that he's actually working at the time. So he was a canceled listing. So this is my first canceled listing seller that turned into a listing. He called me from a postcard. He asked me if it was able for me to meet with him this week. We set up time to meet together. When we were talking about the pricing, the price was actually way over how much his property is actually worth. It's a, you know, it's a dated row home in 1965, built in 1965. It was old carpet, nice kitchen, but it's not a brand new kitchen. So when the previous agent, when they listed, they had it listed for $210. And the market value for that property was actually only $180 to $185. So when I talked to the seller, I told him exactly what I think. And according to my knowledge, I told him I think the house is only worth $180. And I said, if you let me do my job, if you trust me with my pricing, I'm gonna price it very competitively, because I know he already had purchased another house. His family already moved to the house and he wants to sell it right away. So I said, I strongly suggest you to price it for $179.9, and we'll see what's gonna happen. And I told him my goal is to help you sell your house as soon as possible, and my goal is to try to get it with multiple offers. So just like what I said, after it has been listed for not more than 3 days, we received so many showings, like more than 5 showing a day, and then we had like 5 offers at the end. And we picked an offer that has no inspection, and it was over asking price for $5,000. So we were able to put that property under contract for $185,000. And that was the deal. And then after that, I got a cold call listing from a seller who I originally had a cold call a year ago, and I didn't even remember the conversation I had with the seller. It must have been, I called him, asked him if he was interested in selling, and he said maybe. So I sent him my follow-up letter, just not expecting anything gonna happen because I didn't put anything in my note. He called me, sent me an email, and I called him back, set up the appointment. We scheduled that listing right away. And that was a $250,000 home, and we got it under contract, full asking price, in less than 2 days. So that was the next deal. And then after that, it came with a for sale by owner and a cold call, which I'm going to talk about in that cold call listing. When I initially called my seller, he is an older senior. He was living by himself, and his wife had passed away. So I set up the listing appointment right on the first initial phone call, which is rare to a lot of people, but I'm just very aggressive. So I went to meet up with the seller, and I did realize that my seller was a little bit of, you know, just older people. He couldn't really remember. He was repeating himself. Anyway, so I did a home evaluation, and when I asked him how much his house is worth, he had told me he thought that his house is worth $165. However, I know in that area, the houses is very well maintained. It's definitely worth more than $165, and it probably is worth $175. So I told him, I said, why don't we do this? Why don't we price it competitively? We can price it for $169.9. So little do we know, we got that under contract with full asking price, cash as is, for $185. And my seller and his children are really happy. When we met at closing, everyone was happy because it sold more than it's worth. So that was the next deal, and then that was 15 deals total before October. Then when October gets closer, I closed a seller, and then another seller. So the first seller that I closed in the month of October is actually a seller who found me on Zillow Premier Agent again. And the reason that he decided to reach out is because he saw that I have a lot of reviews, and he was actually reading all the reviews. He said when he initially tried to find an agent online, he found a website, but he doesn't feel comfortable. Oh my goodness. He doesn't feel comfortable of filling out all the information in that website, so he went on Zillow. He typed in where his home is located for the zip code, and I happen to be the premier agent for that zip code, so he saw my reviews and my profile picture, so he clicked on it, and he liked what my previous client had to say about me. So take note, it's really important for you to ask your client for reviews and just write as much as they can, and very detailed reviews. It's definitely going to help you in the long run. Anyway, he gave me a call, set up the listing appointment, went there, met with him. The seller used to do I think he might be a paralegal, I'm not exactly sure, but he had a bunch of questions about the paperwork, which I don't really mind. I sat there, I was expecting the listing appointment to be only 30 minutes. It turned out to be an hour and 30 minutes, but we still got everything signed. And on that particular listing, I was actually the dual agent for both parties. And the reason being is we priced it very competitively, again, because I told my sellers what I think the price is worth. I told them the best way, the strategy to price on the home like this to help them sell it quicker and for more than it's worth. So when I show the house, I have my sign go up and I get just bunch of phone calls. So what I did with the buyer is I told them one time that I was gonna be at the property, and we had over 5 buyers that show up, and one of the buyers did offer a cash offer for more than how much the property is worth. So after the house has been shown by all the other agents, we were able to get it for multiple offers, and there is a offer that was actually more than the cash offer has offered, but it has a contingency. So I told the sellers and he picked it up. He actually picked up the cash offer instead of the one that has the contingency. So we were able to get that under contract. So after that, it was another cold call, and then it was a neighbor of the cold call that I did before October. So overall, I have done 15 sellers and 4 buyers, and plus 2 listing rentals. So I add all the numbers in the commission together, it comes down to 91,000. I don't know if this video is like too detailed, but I just kind of want to let you guys have an idea of like how I made this much for my second year. It's not for the purpose of bragging. I just want to document my journey. So tell me what you guys think. Leave a comment down below and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.